Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to be making a birthday card for our great niece who turned 21. I'm a little slow on the uptake in getting this up, but I hope you'll stay tuned. Well, the nice people at In Love Arts sent me this die, Big Birthday Wishes, and they're going to give you a 20% off discount with a code that I'll write right here, and also I'll list it down below the video. I have pre-made card bases that they look like they're 4.5 or 4.25 by 5.5, but they're actually 4.5 by 6. It's an odd shape. Never saw that size before, but it was in one of the card kits I bought. And so I put a 6 by 6 piece of cardstock that I cut down just a little bit because I wanted to have a little bit of border around it. And then I thought it would be cute if I made this into a shaker card. First off, I cut this out of blue foil cardstock, and I thought that would be really fun. Use a tape runner. This is a Tombow tape runner. If you didn't know, Tombow also makes the Stampin' Up! Snails, if they still make those. I don't know if they do. I don't have a Stampin' Up! Representative in my area, so the only thing I know about Stampin' Up! Are things that I either find on Split Coast Stampers or else on videos from Stampin' Up! Reps. So I'm going to lay this pretty close to an edge. I think that's about right. And then I already put tear tape on the back of this, and I've removed a couple of the backings, but not all of them, so you'll have to bear with me for a second while I take these off. I laid down some 1/4 inch tear tape, and then I have some really narrow 1/8 of an inch tear tape, and I put that in the sections that weren't wide enough for my bigger tear tape. So I'm going to back this with acetate, and if you know anything about acetate, very few things will adhere to acetate. Tear tape is one of the things that does. So if you've ever considered doing something with acetate, just remember that it won't stick to your to wet glue and to a lot of different tape mediums, but it will stick to tear tape. So I cut a piece of acetate to the same size, and it's easier if I flip it upside down and lay it on here, because then I'll be able to see if I have it actually on here. Because you know, when you do anything with acetate, it's really hard to see it when you lay it down. And I want to make sure that all of my tear tape is well adhered to it. Okay. And then if I don't think I have, well, I do have a little sticking out the edges. I was going to just say, I don't think I have any sticking out the edges because I cut it to the right size, but then I guess I didn't. These things happen. Where is it? It's right there. I can see it. Clearly, if I can't see it that well, the recipient won't be able to either, do you think? Okay, I think that's pretty good. So I have these very, very thin strips of foam adhesive, and I got these on Amazon, and I'll give you a link to them. I didn't think they were very expensive, and the thing that I like about them is you get a lot, and they are really a nice height. I think they're 4 inches long, and if you're doing a regular card, I think you wouldn't have much trouble with that. I'm going to do 2 layers of this. Jeez, oh man, I already lost the scissors again. There they are. I want it to be, or maybe I'm not, I haven't decided that yet, I guess. I want to make sure that I can put some fun shaker components in here, so I might need it to be 2 layers high. If that's ever, if you ever thought about what you're going to put in a shaker card, you kind of have to think that through, because if you do it really, you do these 1 layer and you realize that what you're putting in it is as thick as the layer of your foam, then you're going to end up hating the project. So just words to the wise. I'm going to put a little piece in between. Birthday wishes. You also need to make sure, and it's probably hard for you to see this, that each one of your pieces of foam are completely touching the other pieces of foam. And if you don't do that, what happens is you're going to end up having a problem with your shaker component shaking out, and you don't want that. So here's the other tip I'm going to give you. Where you put your pieces together, your pieces that had to be placed to match each other, I recommend, instead of laying them so that, okay, let me explain it to you this way. I have a place right here where I piece them together. I also have this place where it's pieced together, kind of. What I recommend you doing is, instead of just placing it the way you did before and having another piece right there, I recommend that you put a full strip on top. See how I went all the way to the end here? That'll make it so that you'll be able to not have to worry about anything coming out, because you've made your edges more reinforced by doing it the way I just told you. Hopefully that made sense. If it didn't, I apologize. I gotta cut this little piece out there. Two more pieces I need to put in, and then we're ready to roll. Hopefully, if I hold this up to the camera better, you'll be able to see that we don't have any gaps anywhere in our card. You know, we have foam completely covered. And what I thought I would do is put one section of shaker components here and a different one down there. I thought that would be a little bit different and fun. The other problem you have when you make shaker cards is that your shaker components are kind of tricky to put in. Just saying, kind of tricky. If you've ever done this, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you end up with your shaker component stuck to the foam. You don't want it stuck to the foam. On top, I mean, when you're shaking it in. Sometimes your shaker components, as I said, could be too thick for the amount of foam tape you put in there. And if that's the case, then you need to add another row of the foam to make sure you have enough room for your shaker components. The easiest way to put your card together, in my opinion, is to use a mat. I'm only using this mat for the dimensions because it's going to make it a lot easier if I center my card. Oh, get off there, buddy. If I put my card down and then I know exactly where the card is in the mat, so that when I flip this over, actually what I'm going to flip over is I'm going to put this down. And I'm going to show you the easiest way to do this if you've never done it before. If you don't want to screw it up, this is what I recommend you doing. All right, what I'm doing is I'm going to place my tape. Oh, jeepers. Sandy. I'm going to put my tape around it so I know exactly where my card is going to go. And the reason for that, it's kind of important when you're making a shaker card, because when you make a shaker card, the one thing I will tell you is you can really offset where you're going to lay it. I'm just going to put this like that so I know exactly where my card goes. And that's so you can see it too. Hopefully I'm in frame so you can see it. This is where the card is going to go. But I'm not going to put the card down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this centered in my square. See why this is helpful? Because now I can kind of look to see where this needs to be. And then, once my shaker components are in, I can lay this card base down so it's in that square. Hopefully that helped you. I've had a lot of issues with that little problem in the past. Just saying. Before I put my glitter in, I'm going to take this little shaker pouch and kind of go around my edges with it, and hopefully this will make it so the sides are not super sticky. See, I'm not touching the top of the glitter or the tape. I'm just making sure that my pouch is kind of rubbing inside of that. I also like to kind of pounce it a little bit so I can get some of the powder going. Okay, well, let's say that's good. I'm going to put this in pretty well centered, hopefully. I bought this at Michael's Recollections, and it's chunky glitter. And the other thing about making a shaker card is less is more. I can only stress that enough. Less is more. Because if you do a lot of glitter, you're going to end up really being grumpy about how much it shakes. It doesn't shake well. So now is the moment of truth. The whole reason that I explained to you about why to do this little square, and that was so that we make sure that our card will be centered when we're done. The other thing I want to tell you is, before you lay this down, make sure the card opens to your left, not to your right, to your left, because you're going to make sure that this card opens the right way, and it's backwards. Hopefully I did that okay. And there you have it. Make sure I got all my shaker pieces going. You want to really push down on your edges and anywhere that you put tear tape underneath. The last thing I want to do, this is her 21st birthday, so I took some cardboard numbers and I painted them this bluish kind of color, and then I made it so that it would be sticky enough to put glitter on by putting some glue on it, and then it's ready to roll. Now I want to, before I put these down, I'm going to wipe off my card, my blue, so it doesn't have fingerprints or anything on it. That looks better. Then we're going to put some of our tear tape under our numbers. Of course, this is going to be a really thick card, so you'd have to pay more to send it. I'm putting hers in a box of goodies that I'm sending her, so it's not going to be anything that I'm going to worry about, but I will tell you that since postal rates have gone up, that those cards that you send that are thicker are also very expensive to send. These little thin foam tapes are really nice for adhering things like this, because you can bend them, whereas you can't bend the big thick ones very easily. If you are using the wider foam tape and you want to make it turn, the easiest way to do this is to take the backing off of it before you lay it down, and then you should be able to take it off easier to turn it into a shape. Now I thought that if I put the 2 and the 1 in the center, it'd be kind of cool. Maybe I'll put the 1 first. Ooh. Oh boy. Okay, there it is. In the end, I really am happy with it. I wasn't sure if I would like the 2 and the 1 on there, but it really sets it off, I think. Maybe it doesn't. But that die, oh, that was the easiest cutting die, and it's like butter. In Love Arts is who sent them to me, and again, they give you a 20% off coupon code, and I'll make sure I have Rich write that in the video, and I'll put it below the video. So I hope you enjoyed this, that you give it a thumbs up, and subscribe, and please tell your friends about me on social media, because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.